All right, guys, give me 1 second and we about to begin. Renardo, I see you. 1 second. All right, man. Appreciate everybody for checking in. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. Detroit Lions 1-on-1. I'm proud of myself. We are now at, I think, episode, what is it? 14. So we done 14 Lion streams. So that's very, very good. I seldomly have done these streams, but I've got consistent with them. I'm probably gonna plan a Piston stream in the immediate near future. I want to tell you guys tomorrow, and I can't get to it. So I have a Piston stream coming up really, really soon. But today we're talking about Stafford supporting cast, Kerryon versus DeAndre Swift, and also who will be the Lions 2020 breakout stars, in my opinion. So don't forget, you can check out the podcast on Anchor. I should have something coming really, really soon on the podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All those links in the description. Pretty soon I'll start streaming these on Twitter. All the links in the description if you want to follow me on social media. Quickest way to get in touch with me is on Twitter. If you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video request, or you just want to chop it up. Then I probably would say Facebook, then Instagram. I'm rarely on the Instagram page. Want to make a donation, Cash App, PayPal in the description. Best way to donate is to share video. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, thumbs up the video. Most importantly, share the video. And don't forget to check out my other channel, Goodfella Sports TV. Won't be mad if you like the content over here. You'll love the content over there. So let's get to it. So today, Bill Barnwell at ESPN said the Lions had the fourth worst offseason. Now, technically, I don't really know. I don't really watch a lot of other teams, so I can't really tell you. But let's talk about, instead of harping on that, I did an almost 20-minute long video on him. Haven't got to the comment section yet. People may be mad because I agree with them. I kind of addressed that here. But Stafford supporting cast offensively is really what we honing in on today. Zatumbo, I see you. Leo, yeah, I'm tired of the rain too. I can't even let my dogs out like I want to. Austin, salute. Renardo, Antonio, Jenkins, salute. Always happy to see you, bro. So, to be honest, a football team is, traditionally built from the trenches on out. And the problem, I have with the Lions is it's questions up front. It's three questionable spots, that they got to fill. When you talking about the supporting cast, everybody look at the receivers, the tight ends, the running backs. We excited about Swift. I disagree with Barnwell on Swift. I'm excited about him. I'm excited about, Marvin. I'm excited about Marvin Hall. I'm excited about Kenny Galladay. He seemed to, got stronger and built his physical strength up, and his durability has became very, very much a strength for him. He was injured early on, but up front is where people like to ignore at. And I just want to talk about the Cleveland Browns, right? I get a lot of flack for still believing in Baker Mayfield because I think last year the organization let Baker Mayfield down. Okay, people say, "Oh, he's garbage. He's a bum. Throw him away." And I think part of that is because of his mouth. You know what I'm saying? But the talent is there. The arm strength, the IQ. I didn't believe in Baker at one point, but Baker Mayfield is a really good quarterback. But when I kind of looked at it a few years ago, Joe Thomas retired. All pro, probably one of the best left tackles to play in this generation. They moved Alex Mack. Somehow he got to Atlanta, I believe. He was one of the best centers to do it, right? Kind of give you this. This is going to lead up to something for the Lions, how I'm explaining this. They go get Odell. They go get Juice Landry. I mean, who else they had over there? The speedy receiver they got over there. They got Njoku. You know what I'm saying? They get Kareem Hunt. I mean, Nick Chubb's outstanding back, right? Got talent on defense, Denzel Ward. I mean, just go Miles Garrett. Just go across the board. It's a talented football team. You feel me? But the problem, what people didn't look at, was Greg Robinson was the left tackle. That's something that I ignored early on in the season. Greg Robinson was their left tackle. The offensive line wasn't good. They didn't have the line to support Baker Mayfield. Short quarterback, tall quarterback, average size quarterback. When I seen Greg Robinson was their left tackle, they had a problem. On top of that, they had the head coach who was trying to be the head coach and trying to be the offensive coordinator at the same time. He didn't do Baker Mayfield any favors. Okay, knowing their offensive line wasn't good enough, he calling 5-7 step drops and not running the ball enough. So overall, the organization made Baker Mayfield look bad on several different aspects. They made him look bad by not giving him the blockers up front. They made him look bad by not giving him the head coach and the play calling that he needed. And that's the one thing everybody ignored when the Browns was going to the Super Bowl. When they played the Titans week 1, the Titans out physicaled them up front. They didn't have no answers for blocking, up front. So you look at the Detroit Lions, they have 3 question marks on their offensive line. They can have Danny Amendola, who was one of the shiftier guys. Give me 1 minute. They can have Danny Amendola, who's one of the more shiftier guys in the slot. They can have Marvin Jones. They can have Marvin Hall. They can have Galladay. Hockenson can take a step forward. But if those 3 positions that they acquired, if Jonah Jackson, Stenberg, left, right guard, and Big V, if they don't upgrade them at least in the run game, the Matthew Stafford is gonna find itself back on the bench, and that's my honest opinion on it. Antonio, he said, for real, I'm tired of the rain too. Luke G, salute. Zatumbo 8, Austin D, cool. It's the trenches. Baker Mayfield ain't a bad quarterback. Motherfuckers just hate his mouth. That's why you can't get mad at the motherfucking player. Look at the situation. You name me another fucking quarterback in Cleveland that survived. Last person to have any type of success was Kelly Holcomb, and that was like a year or 2 after Cleveland came back. I remember they made the playoffs under Kelly Holcomb. So Stafford, you talking about the supporting cast? You can't ignore that. Do you trust Bob Quinn to be able to go in there in the 4th and 5th round, or whenever he took Stenberg and Jonah Jackson, to go in the 4th and 5th round and get it right? Remember, this is the same dude that missed with Rick Wagner. One of the things Bill Barnwell said was that Rick Wagner, this Big V signing reminded him of Rick Wagner. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't know a lot about Rick Wagner before he got to Detroit. I'm not even gonna tell no lie. You know what I'm saying? But I do know from a lot of my friends that from Eagles, Skins, Giants fans, anybody I ask, and they all hate each other equally, they said Big V is terrible. Now, I haven't turned on the tape. I know he was a spot player for the Eagles, and he filled in where he can. He could play every position on the line. But just knowing Bob Quinn's ability to, rank and rate offensive tackles and offensive linemen, it ain't been too good. He's on his second rebuild of the line. From Rick Wagner, TJ Lang, down to Travis Swanson, Glasgow, and Taylor Decker. Now, Taylor Decker looked good his first year until he hurt his shoulder. But you looking at the guard positions, what if they don't beat out, Dallin Wiggins? We know Dallin Wiggins not that good. What if Big V ain't an upgrade from Rick Wagner? He the same. So you're in a situation where you can't start talking about Stafford supporting cast without talking about the 5-man that protect him up front. If you have to count on Jonah Jackson and Stenberg going through some rookie pains too, because the quickest way to the quarterback is up the middle. And on their schedule, they see J.J. Watt, Elijah. I see you. They see J.J. Watt this year. They see Cam Jordan this year. I'm just talking about interior linemen right now. Trying to think of their schedule. Who else they play? I mean, the Colts got some good linemen, interior linemen that may not be household names. Obviously, Ndamukong Suh, you see him later in the year. So they see some good interior linemen this year, and that's gonna be key. And it's gonna be growing pains. The offensive guard position ain't that complex. Unless you actually do a lot of pulling but it's not complex. The tackle positions are the real, true, athletes, but the guards play their position, and one thing they will have ability to lean on is a veteran quarterback and a veteran center that's probably one of the best centers in the game, in Ragnar. But they gonna be so important to Matthew Stafford's success, Big V, Jackson, and Stenberg, because if they able to come in and just run block pretty good, pass blocking won't be that hard, because you have to play the run on the way to the pass, so you got to respect the run. You got to respect that run game. So if they able to open up holes and not be that good in the passing game, I take it. Because then Stafford play action would actually have people thinking, the windows would be open. But given this situation, where we in a situation where I think a lot of us do agree that this will be a make and break season for Patricia and Bob Quinn to see if they go on or they get fired. Okay? I feel that they didn't do enough to not get to upgrade this team around Matthew Stafford. You got a quarterback that got a back injury. You didn't bring in a respectable backup. Me personally, I would have took the tackle out of Louisville, or maybe the Jackson kid, whoever went to New York, whoever you did, you would look at. I would probably took them, played them at right. I would have spent some money. I would still bring in Larry Warford if I could, or give me another. I would have got me another guard. I probably still took both the rookie guards. I don't think Warford would be the long-term solution if that's who you went with. And then eventually I can kick, I can't even know his name, from Louisville, Bactari, whatever his name. I can kick him to the left side, and eventually, on the right side, I can have a rookie come in or another veteran. But I think they played the offensive line all wrong, and that's my concern. They played it all wrong. You don't sit there and go with a guy with Big V, that hasn't started before, really, on a consistent basis, and then you go with two interior rookies. Like I said, they should at least went with one veteran guard, and they should have went with a right side. That's kind of was my issue with taking the cornerback Okuda. That was a luxury pick. That's a luxury pick to take Jeff Okuda. There's no knock on him, but your number one thing is to protect Stafford. If Okuda go down, or if you don't draft Okuda and you still got Stafford, Stafford is going to be able to rise. He's more valuable than Okuda is this year. They took the cheap route as far as the line. And then you got questions amongst the line with Taylor Decker. He adequate in passing, but he can't run block. So eventually you're gonna have to replace him, and then we can even take a step back and say they should have just paid Graham Glasgow, put him at guard, sign Warford. At this point we know now they still could have drafted a rookie guard. Sign Warford, let the guard sit behind Warford because he probably gonna sign more of a short-term deal. And took the Bakhtari kid. The offensive line should have been the number one place, because you layer up the defense. It's the trenches, the second layer of the backers, and then the DBs. Our defensive line has gotten no better in the interior. It's the same shit last year. Even if Danny Shelton is what Damon Harrison was the year before last, which I don't believe that's him, you still counting on Deshaun Hand to get interior pressure. You still counting on Deshaun Hand to be your make or break interior lineman. They have nothing behind him that I respect. The kid they drafted from Arizona last year, they have nothing behind the defensive tackles that I respect, and I keep saying it. And no, I don't believe they're going to bring Mike Daniels back after hearing this interview. I don't believe Snacks, after the damage done, will be coming back. Marcel Darius will be, a good 1-2, punch with Danny Shelton kind of coming in there, and they kind of making one full-time defensive tackle. Robinson went to the Rams, never was a fan of his, but they just thin that defensive line again. Now, I could look, if Hand come back healthy and he do what he did, his rookie year, it's going to look upgraded. Did they upgrade the edges? Okora, Collins, good players. Trey Flowers will be 100% healthy, so that's an upgrade right there. But what it boiled down to is There's no depth amongst the defensive line. The defensive line is still weak. It's question marks there. As far as depth, the offensive line, there are question marks. A lot of question marks amongst those two things. Last year, it was an issue. Everybody knew that the Lions' defensive line was an issue. How do you build the contender? How do you build a contender the right way? You secure both sides of the line. They didn't do that. They didn't secure, and they bring the kid over from Chicago, Nick Williams. People talking about his production. If he was a full-time player, if it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. I think his name is Nick Williams. Sorry if I butchered his name. So they got some players that they count on to come in to do some things, but they haven't done them on a full-time level. So we'll see what they do. But as far as Stafford, I'm just concerned about the line. If they're able to run block, Dave, I see you. Detroit Legend Sportscast, salute. Slow-mo, I see you. If they're able to run block, I would be happy with the line. If Big V come over, he able to run block. Rick Wagner couldn't run block or pass block. It was getting pretty pathetic. If Stenberg and Jackson able to open some holes in the interior with Frank Ragnow, I think that's a huge win. You know, if I can hand the ball off, Stafford can hand the ball off 25, 30 times. Fuck it. They have problems run blocking. Well, you know, you do draws, you do delays, you do misdirections, you do screen passes. I mean, you can do play action. So I rather, if they come in and they able to open up holes in the run game, I take that all day. But you go to his other help on the outside, and I like it. I like what they're doing on the outside. I like Marvin Jones still. I feel that he possibly could be trade bait, but he's still there. You know, Kenny Galladay on the outside, I like it. You know, Amendola, but let's face it. They're a little bit old on the outside. They're a little bit old in the wide receiver department. They're a little old. Amendola is shifty, but we know he's going to miss a handful of games. Marvin Jones ain't the receiver that he used to be, but he had a good year last year. Sure-handed, but the separation ain't there. Stafford got to be on point. So what you really looking at this year, where the true upgrades come around Stafford, the skill position, it's just the health of the backs, and you're looking at Marvin Hall. This is the point where Marvin Hall becomes a staple of the offense. It's time for him to take over. You know what I'm saying? It's time for you to motion him, bunch him, use his speed. You know, if it's Marvin working underneath and Galladay working every aspect of the field, it's time for people to respect him. You're going to have Swift and Johnson coming out the backfield, and Hockenson. That's who you're looking at this year. You know, I think part of Hockenson's struggle was Bevel not being able to draw things up for him. I think was part of it. It's a hard position to adjust to. The blocking schemes, the blocking audibles, the route audibles, you know, lining up in the slot, lining up in the backfield. Some, you know, year one to year two is where a lot of the great tight ends make their jump. Look at Greg Kittles, another Iowa tight end. So, you know, he's going to be critical for what they do too. So, you know, I'm looking at them phasing out Jones, them phasing out Hockenson. Phasing out Amendola and bringing in a new era with Marvin Hall and Hockenson, and even getting Jesse James in there and involving Swift and Johnson in the passing game, which we'll talk about them in 1 second. So, you know, I think the young guys, I think Hockenson, and I'll get to these later when we talk about the breakout stars. The guys I'm looking at is Hockenson and Marvin Hall. It's probably going to be Matthew Stafford's, you know, biggest difference between what he had early on last year, what he had this year outside the offensive line. So those are two people that you're going to look to probably have breakout years this year. I look for Jones to kind of take a step back. Michael, I see you. I look for Amendola to take a step back, and I look for Hall to take a step forward, and Hockenson take a step forward, and the backs to take a step forward. So it'll be interesting. But as far as Matthew Stafford supporting cast, I really have no issue outside of the unknowns of the offensive line. That's the only issue I truly have. If they're able to run block or protect Stafford to the best, then I think Stafford staying healthy, have a complete year. I think that plus 4,400 on FanDuel Sportsbook look good. Putting a few hundred on there and trying to bring back, you know, $1,200, $12,000. think that's a bad bet. I don't think that's a bad bet. And also, you got Aaron Rodgers sitting there plus 2,300. I don't think that's a bad bet as well too. I mean, 100 get you 2,300 if Rodgers have an MVP type year too. So him and Stafford are probably two of the better bets I've seen on there because they are capable of having MVP type seasons, and both of them got a fucking chip on their shoulder, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Rodgers pissed they drafted quarterback. Matthew Stafford, should have a chip on his shoulder because he don't win. He can't get over the hump. This might be his last opportunity to get over that hump. But, I like his support cast. I like the speed that Marvin Hall adds, and I like the speed that Swift adds. So that is what it is. So let me get to the chat. Give me a minute. So let me get here. 1 minute. But I do. They block, I think. He got a good win. What about the dude from Chicago? Yeah, I talked about him. I think Nick Williams. We'll see what he can do. He said Stafford always had rocky lines. That's why it wasn't too interested in him coming. What do you think about Crosby, the guard? Yeah, that might be a contingency plan they do. You know what I'm saying? That's a great question, D. Cool, because they gotta be part of the contingency plan because you got Dal Wiggins, the rookie from Wisconsin might be in the mix from last year, the undrafted guy. I ain't gonna pronounce the butcher's name. People get mad. Learn the guy's name. I'm not fucking Marv Albert. I'm not Joe Buck. I don't give a fuck about these dudes with funny names. Your name Kareem, DeAndre, Bill, Bobby, David. I can pronounce your fucking name. But with Terrell Crosby, yeah, I mean, I guess he had contingency plan on all spots. He can play some left. He can play some right. I think if they believed in him, he would already have a position. He just this version of the Lions, Adrian Waddle, a guy that can just plug in. He a depth guy. He a good team guy. I don't think they view him as a starting offensive lineman anywhere. It's also make or break for Stafford. It'll never be make or break for Stafford in Detroit. As long as he's healthy. Stafford can stay as long as he wants to. You know what I'm saying? And you know how you tell your favorite cousin or somebody or your boy on bad times, hey, stay as long as you want to. The Lions legitimately mean that. So Stafford had never had pressure on him, unless he injured, like seriously injured. So there's never going to be pressure on Stafford to leave this organization. And that's just the God honest truth. He says, Austin says this offseason, I think he meant, they built the team to win 8 games instead of building to win the Super Bowl. 8 games, that's a stretch. Because a lot got to happen for them to win 8 games. It's a tough stretch. A lot of people predicting 1-7. I don't. He said he played Australian football for a while before going. I'm talking about the punter. He said Elijah said, I think people be hoeing the Lions nationally because we only won 3 games, but people forget Stafford went down when our easy part of the schedule was coming up. Yeah, I mean they was competitive versus Skins. They was competitive versus Dallas. They was competitive versus Raiders. I think Stafford got injured in that game. I think that's the game that did it. They was competitive versus Denver as well too early on. So and then we was down to our 3rd string quarterback. So I seen somebody comparing Devontae Parker to Kenny Galladay season, and Parker, funny to say this, he had more stability at the quarterback position than Kenny Galladay did. Galladay went from Stafford to Jeff Driscoll, who now in Denver, to David Blog, and he still made it do what it do with Blog and Driscoll. So a good player. He said if Matthew has no supporting cast, then Aaron Rodgers really has no supporting cast. So I think they better coached up there. That's part of the supporting cast too. That really is. They're just better coached. They know how to run the ball. Aaron Jones one of the they know how to draft. They don't necessarily get free agents in Green Bay, but they coach and they know how to draft. They got a system that works. You know what I'm saying? Devontae Adams is a stud. Aaron Jones is a stud. Obviously, Rodgers is a stud. And they block for Rodgers for the most part. So, And then they got that defense. And Green Bay, just a great organization. When Ted Thompson was doing the drafting to whoever doing the drafting now, they just fucking get it. So, that's part of supporting cast too. So you think the depth this year, what do you think of the depth this year than it was in 16 when they made the playoffs? I personally think it's better. 16? Who the fuck they playing 16? Was that the year when They lost to Dallas. It's been so many years. To be honest, that team defensively was still better. So I mean, I don't think that's a comparison. You had a better head coach. You had a better defensive coordinator until Austin. If that's what you're talking about. The front seven was good. DeAndre Levy was better than any linebacker on his team. And Dominican Sue was better than any D lineman on his team. I can't necessarily remember. I think Calvin Johnson, you don't have a weapon like Calvin Johnson. The problem with that team was offensively they can get nothing going. So you can compare depth all you want to. They don't that D line depth in 16 shits on this D line depth in this year. That linebacker core shits on this linebacker core. Only thing on paper that look better defensively is they defensive backfield. That offensive line probably shits on this offensive line on paper. Calvin Johnson, like I said, he's probably the best out there. I think they had Anquan. No, Anquan was a couple years before that. So I don't have that roster right on time, but I don't think so. Jay Jefferson, salute. I don't think it was better at all. Front seven win football games. Green Bay messed up by not get. Yeah, they should have got him a receiver, bro. I can't remember who was down there this year, but they should have got him one. You think they would blow it all up and bring in a new GM and wants to draft a quarterback? Stafford could get traded because his contract allows it next year. I mean, that could be part of the situation. I just don't see him going nowhere unless he demanded or he get injured. So I don't see that happening. It don't really matter. Martha Ford don't know how to hire nobody. So the NFL is going to handle the hiring process. And if anything, we should just let them play the contract out. That's what I always said. But let's talk about Kerryon and DeAndre Swift. The Lions Nation is already, and people around Detroit and Metro Detroit area is already trying to play Kerryon against DeAndre Swift. And my whole thing was, it's a running back by committee, bro. I never understood why people, was playing them against each other. They can complement each other, But, they heckling Kerryon, saying that you're on the beach chilling and, DeAndre Swift working and you bullshit. Like, can a motherfucker enjoy his life? I can see if the dude came out there and he had love handles and his stomach was poking out. This dude still look like he's strong, he in shape. And that's the problem, bro. People don't realize Kerryon only 23 years old. People say, his first 2 years, write him off and he's a bum. And, hey, man, sometimes you got to be patient. That's why you see a lot of the Lion players, y'all be trashing. They go somewhere and have a good year and they ball out somewhere else. Sometimes you got to be patient. You line up all the running backs we had over the years, they was talented. Javit, Kevin Jones, Joyce Bill, Reggie Bush. You had a lot of different backs they brought in. You got to ask yourself, is it the backs or is it the team? And people talking about they wanted Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny struggling too. He got injured his rookie year. He started coming on last year. He got injured. So the Lions just had a lid on the running game. It ain't gotta be two right or two wrong answers or good and a bad here. They both can complement each other. The NFL, there ain't too many Zeke Elliott's and Saquons no more where they only get 20 carries. Swift will get his touches, Kerryon to get his touches. There's really no need to play them against each other. If anything, we should be promoting, a 1-2 punch. Y'all should be coming up with names for them. People want to know the hierarchy of the running or the backfield. It's probably going to be Swift and Johnson, splitting the major carries. It's going to be Bo Scarborough's the short yardage back. And then you probably going to see Huntley or whoever, Tyler Johnson, kind of as the scat back, the J.D. McKissick type of back in the backfield. And maybe if they cut Jamal Agnew, they kind of will handle return duties. But everybody want to play these two dudes against each other and create a schism that ain't even there. You can do what San Francisco did. You can have 3 or 4 running backs running the ball. That's wrong. The Eagles used 2 or 3 running backs: Miles Sanders, Sproles, Jordan Howard at one point. The Chicago Bears used Tyreek Cohen. They use David Montgomery. Green Bay gonna break out AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. Last year was Williams and Aaron Jones. So, like I said, man, you can have multiple backfield. New England is known for using 2 or 3 backs. Remember, they had Woodhead and Buck Burkhead and Sonny Michel. They known for using multiple backs. So it ain't no reason to play neither one of them against each other, and they kind of support each other because if one gets tired, one can come in. You don't know what they gonna do because Swift can do the same thing Johnson do. He just bring a little bit more speed to the table. The ability to run inside the tackles, the ability to run outside the tackles, catch the football. And if Swift don't work, then you got to look at personnel wise. What are we not doing to be able to open up running lanes for the running backs? That's it. You feel like the way Bo played down the stretch, but to be honest, Bo wasn't getting each team best look. You know what I'm saying? Bo was a fresh running back going out there against world defenses and defenses that was overlooking the Lions. That's the difference. Let's see what happened when Bo Scarborough, is playing against guys that's fresh like him. Fred Jackson, salute. Let's see what Bo Scarborough do when, all the chips on the table and stuff of that nature. That's the question. Scarborough was coming off the practice squad. He was fresh. And teams was taking the Lions for granted. They knew the Lions wasn't no threat without Matthew Stafford. That's why a lot of those games was kind of close to the teams pulled away from the Lions. So when the chips really on the table, when teams really respecting the Lions, when they got Stafford in the backfield, we'll see what they do. But Scarborough, he have an opportunity to do some things this season, but it's people think it's just got to be one back. This ain't Barry Sanders days. This ain't the Emmett Walter Payton days. These dudes are doing running backs by committee. You know what I'm saying? He said he ran on Cowboys though. You talking about he what? He was on a practice squad with the Cowboys. You talking about he played good versus the Cowboys? Like I said, I don't think the Cowboys took the Lions serious. They ended up pulling away. And obviously that was a rivalry game. That's the practice squad he came from, I believe. But we'll see. But I don't think he in the mix to start. Not right now. Not to be the vocal point. I think it's between Swift and Johnson. But if they go down, or Swift don't pick up in pass protection, or something happen, or he just the best back in training camp, then he may be the starting back. But I don't envision that. I think he'll have a place. I think he'll be a fringe. He'll be a fringe guy. 3rd and 1. You know what I'm saying? He'll spell every now and again. But last year they went down with a few backs. Don't sleep on Tyler Johnson. Maybe shit slow down for him, and he see how to hit the holes or whatever. But I think you got to put Swift and Johnson against each other. Don't have to do that. Don't do that shit. Y'all creating something that ain't even there. Oh, Kerryon's being lazy. He can't enjoy his life. He's on the beach with women. Like, come on, bro. Let the brother live his life. Let him live. Y'all creating already. I understand people want to see competition, but it's plenty enough carries to go around for everybody. They do the same thing. Swift is just a little bit faster, but Georgia's been producing good running backs. Sonny Michel, Nick Chubb, Todd Gurley, and now him. So, if we gonna get the running back that ain't that good, if Swift don't live up to expectations, I think it just confirms that the Lions just don't know how to build a good line. That should have been the vocal point of anybody that took this job, was running the ball. That's been the biggest problem. The Lions have had prolific pass offenses. They had stingy defenses. They had top defenses. The one thing they haven't had is a run game. And whoever come here, they always come in here trying to do some bullshit. Well, let's just refix the defense and let's refix the offensive passing game. No, let's just bring in some dudes that can open some run holes and get nasty up front. For years, Jeff Backus and Raiola has been an issue with the Lions being able to be good up front. They just kept paying them two dudes for no reason. Jeff Backus was one of the worst dudes ever. They just like Jeff Backus. They like Dominic Raiola. Raiola had somewhat of resurgence the year that Stafford had a big year, But other than that, he been terrible. He was the reason why they couldn't run the ball for years, because he would get blew back into the quarterback lap all the time. Then they get Riley Reef. He was terrible. Then they take Taylor Decker around the same time they took Riley Reef in the draft. Around the same area. At some point, you got to ask yourself, don't we need a top talented left tackle? Don't we need a top talented right tackle? You got the center position right. You feel me? I get it. You got the center position right. Let's secure the tackles first. You know what I'm saying? Let's secure the tackles on the outside, but the Lions love those centers and them centers that's, 20 to 20-some range. They had some misses with Lincoln Thomason back in the day. Larry Warford was a good pickup. He just couldn't stay completely healthy. But that's kind of been the issue with them. They just don't put no money into the offensive line, especially at left tackle. Stafford ain't never had a premier left tackle. Backus got him hurt, his second year at Soldier Field. Riley Reef wasn't shit. Taylor Decker had one good year, and other than that, he wasn't nothing. And that's why I felt that the Lions should have took a top tackle this year in the draft. That's why I feel they should have taken a top tackle. You don't get that high to take no cornerback, and I'm gonna stand on that. A top tackle at that point, that's either you ain't taking a quarterback, it ain't special running back, or a special player like Calvin Johnson. They should have took the tackle. Flip, salute. They should have took the tackle. It ain't sexy, it ain't pretty, but they should have took the tackle. That's something they never had in a long time. Top left tackle. They should have took that tackle. Either the other kid the Giants took, the kid that the Jets took, they should have took a tackle. And I stand on that. They should have took that tackle and developed him on the right side, saved that money with Big V, and just kept it rolling. Brought Warford in hindsight now. We know he available. That's what I would have done. But, it is what it is. They choose to do. But, if this don't work with Swift, I don't know what to tell y'all about the running back position. The Lions got to put a line that's respectable, that's not cheap. And you look at their interior line, or just their line in general, I don't think Decker the answer. And I don't think the rookie's going to be the answers right away. So, we'll see. But let's talk about kind of the breakout guys, and I'll get into a Q&A. Look at a couple questions. He said, if you were given $15,000 to hire the Lions GM and head coach, who would you take? $15,000, is that enough? Or are you just saying if they gave me $15,000, well, that's definitely enough. I would probably hire Ozzie Newsome, and I'll let him pick the coach he wanted to pick, to be honest. That's what I would do. Or I would hire, Tony Dungy to be the senior advisor to Martha, and he'd hire his general manager, and the general manager and him will huddle up and hire a coach. That's what I would look at. You know what I'm saying? I would, you can't just give a general manager a head coach. That ain't how it go. So I would even consult and have Tony Dungy consult with Martha, and they do something. But if I get somebody that done it before. I would try to throw the bag at Jimmy Johnson. Ozzie Newsome, he done it. Bill Parcells, he's still ticking. One of those guys to reconstruct the winner. That's what I would look at. Just my opinion. He said the best offensive line that the Lions ever had was with Lomas Brown and Kevin Glover. Facts. He said we still got to work though. Salute. He said keep salute. He said next year getting a real left tackle need to be a top priority for you. I mean, those guys usually don't even hit the market. You know what I'm saying? They usually hit the market when they beat up like Jason Peters and Donald Penn right now. They was in a position to take a top left tackle, and then, they didn't do it. I mean, people don't understand how important that is. I didn't think these top tackles in the draft are special. Ollie had the dude from Louisville was special, bro. He could play on the right side. They should have took him. No doubt about it. Worst case scenario, he played right side. You still bring another left side guy. That dude was nasty. Nasty in the run game. Special athletic. I mean, he can be a flop, but like I told y'all, Kuda not going to win football games, bro, right away. Especially with that weak defensive line they got. He said Ragnar has only good line pick. I don't care what anybody says about it not being able to run the ball. How is the line consistently mediocre? Because of the tackles, bro. Rick Wagner was terrible last year, and Taylor Decker is Taylor Decker, So they gotta find a top tackle, but it's hard to find top tackles on the free agent market. Those guys usually don't hit the market like that. You don't see the Jake Longs, the Joe Thomases, hit this, or this top guard Steve Hutchinson. A lot of times those dudes don't hit the open market like that, And if they did, you know, they probably going somewhere like New England, Green Bay, or something like that. So those guys don't really hit the market that much. I mean, look at Eric Fisher. He's still with the Kansas City Chiefs, even though I don't consider him a top tackle. It's just hard to find those big, nimble linemen that can play the left tackle position. So it's very, very interesting. Yeah, that Louisville is cold, and he is versatile. Yeah, I liked him. I wanted them to take him. He said, tough question to answer, but what do you think the Lions would have done if they would have got Parcells back in 7 or 8? Probably would have had a better team, or it probably would have been a clash of spending money, or Parcells probably would have put a winner on the field. He probably would have put a winner on the field for sure. If the Lions would have financial, I don't think the Lions want to spend the money to put a winner on the floor. I just don't think they want to, but that's my opinion on it. But he said draft should go left tackle, linebacker, maybe quarterback. Depend who available. Because if you got somebody like Barry at the top of the draft, you got to take him. You got somebody like Deion there, you got to take him. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't think Okuda's Deion Sanders, but I could be wrong. But let's talk about the breakout stars before we get to the Q&A. I got a couple of them. Hockenson is probably top of Hockenson and Tracy Walker tops my list. I think Walker is probably gonna find himself if he's healthy, find himself in the Pro Bowl position. I'm very confident on that. I think he can cover. He can be Eric Reed, and he can do what Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, do. Jimmy Ward. He can cover. He can cover outside if you want to. He can cover receivers. He can cover the nickel. He can play the deep half. He can rob. He can hit. He can plug. He can play strong safety. I think Tracy Walker's probably gonna be a breakout star this year. Even if it's because Patricia holding him back. I think if some other coach come in, I think he gonna flourish. I think he a very, very versatile safety. You know what I'm saying? He can play some corner. If they need him to. Man, zone, nickel. He can play in the box. You can do whatever you wish to do with that guy. He can hit. Kind of remind you of a bigger Quadre Diggs, because Quadre came out of Texas as a nickel back. You know what I'm saying? And then they found that he could play as safety. I think Walker is just taller and more rangier. I see why they got rid of Quadre Diggs, because Walker can do the same thing. But the problem was Walker and Diggs work good together, because they both can play free or play strong. They interchangeable. But I just think he boiled down to them not wanting to pay Quadre Diggs that salary no more. Also, him having the voice in the locker room kind of irked them. We see him and Darius Slay go live. So I just think Walker's probably going to be my 1A guy to break out for the Lions. I see a big, big year for him if Patricia defense allows him to. And then Hockenson, I just think year 1 and year 2 is going to be his year. I think they're going to find a way to get him involved. I see 70, 80 catches for him this year. Not sure he'll get over Rack. And if he get over Rack, it's going to be because Marvin Hall take over in the slot. And got Amendola kind of fade away a little bit. And Jones take a step back. So I think Hockenson is probably going to be my 1B guy. I think blocking is going to be huge. Him helping Decker and Ragnow. Not Decker and Ragnow, but Decker and Big V out in the run game. I think this year the speed of the game slowed down a little bit more. I think he controlled the middle of the field like I thought he would last year, like he did versus Arizona. So I think they make the adjustments on the zone looks, the man looks they was giving them, the combo looks they was giving them. I think Darrell Bevel draws up a game plan for him to be successful. And I just think him and Amendola should work together in the middle of the field. But I just got a hunch that Marvin Hall is going to be the guy that's going to be able to take the top off the defense, and then Hockenson is going to be able to work the middle and the intermediate. So my top two tied at 1 is going to be Walker and Ragnow. Walker and Hockenson. I need a nap. And then my third guy is probably going to be Marvin Hall. I think Marvin Hall, if he get the opportunities this year, I think Stafford found his new deep threat. I think paying attention to what Hockenson going to be doing underneath and in the middle, Kerryon and Swift and Bevel can step out of his comfort zone and hit them in the pass game. I mean, I just like what Sean Payton is able to do. He always recreate his offense around his personnel. It's not a permanent marker offense. If he gets somebody that's fast and speedy, outside, he gonna put them in position. He's going to overhaul his offense. He gonna make them. He gonna play towards their strength. As Drew Brees lost his arm, they start running the ball more, and they got a running back that can kill the flats and kill the middle of the field with the options and the Texas routes. What Sean Payton does is next level. It's never in cement. If he got Mike Thomas, he built his offense around Mike Thomas and Alvin Kamara. Daryl Bevel has to understand. He said Devontae Parker and Michael Thomas going back and forth on Twitter. I gotta check that out. Parker had one good year, but he always able to change his offense towards his player's strength. And Bevel got to do that because he been known not to really use the tight ends a lot, not to use the running backs in the receiving game a lot. He got to change, and that's what make New Orleans so dangerous. That's what make Kansas City, they on TV right now, Monday night game, so dangerous because Kareem Hunt, the threat of going deep, and then the threat of the running backs in the flat and running out for routes. So Bevel got that with Swift and with Kerryon. So. But I also think Marvin Hall will be able to stretch the field out. And Jermaine Kearse is a free agent, I believe. But they'll be able to stretch the field out with Marvin Hall, and I think he's gonna have a big year. Amendola always getting injured. And I think this year he if he work on his route running, this year to be his year. The fourth guy I like is Armani Araqui. I just don't think Desmond Trufant is that good, and I like what he did down the stretch last year. He another guy I think. The pace of the game kind of shocked him, and it kind of took a toll on his durability, like Kenny Galladay in his first year. I think if he working hard and he working out, and he studying film, and they have a good offseason this year, I expect him to start at some point this year. I think as early as like week 2, week 4. I think he should start by that time, man. So I think he another guy. Real long. I think him and Okuda gonna be a good pair for a long time, man. Real long, can jam you. And remember, he only was like a one. I think he only started 1 full year at Penn State, so his ceiling is still going up. And I think him and Okuda gonna be a good 1-2 punch for a long time. Walker in the back half. We don't know what Will Harris gonna do. If he do develop into that next safety for them with his speed and his ability to hit. The Lions got a good backfield for a long, long time. So I expect those four to take a step to break out this year. I know Tavai is another guy that I think could step out and do some things, man. Chris, I see you. Fan man, I see you. I think he can step out and do some things. But those kind of the 4 or 5 guys I think that's probably going to break out this year. I think, I can't say a rookie going to break out this year because, he ain't have another year to break out off of. So I think the second-year guys and the third-year guys, the guys you're looking at, Walker, Hockenson, Hall has been around the league a little bit. So those the guys I think that's really going to break out and do some really good things. And, we'll see if Hen can have a bounce-back year, and that's just predicated on durability. So we'll see what happens with those. But, I love Walker and Hockenson at the top of my breakout list this year, man. I love to pick Hockenson up in fantasy football this year. If you're a fantasy player, I play daily. I don't play standard no more. I play FanDuel. But you got any questions, I'll answer them. He said Marvin Hall needs the ball more. He has a game-breaking speed. Yeah, he got game-breaking speed, and then, he going to see a lot of one-on-ones because he's not a household name. You double Galladay or you double, Hockenson, then Marvin Hall going to be able to run free. And then you got to worry about the backs in the backfield. It's going to be up to Daryl Bevel to draw up a better offense this year. You know what I'm saying? He said Trufant is good. His defense gives him a pass rush. He good if his defense give him a pass rush. Look who you talking about. Ain't no Vic Beasley or Tack McKinley over here. But he ain't trash. He just not great. He garbage. I've been telling y'all that. Go to Atlanta where the players play and they ride on them things like every day and see what they say about Desmond Trufant. Trufant struggled because the Falcons' pass rush was trash, but still had more picks than Slay. Because they throw to Desmond Trufant. He gave up 15 and a half yards per game, my nigga. Don't forget that. Don't leave that out. He gave up 15 and a half yards, and he had Tack McKinley and Vic Beasley. Not saying they had the best years. I think Tack missed a couple games this year. But to each his own. Darius Slay playing a man-dominant defense where they don't rush more than 3 or 4 players at a time. Can't compare it. Desmond Trufant is utter garbage. Utter garbage. They was better waiting on Drake Kilpatrick. They was better keeping up on the guy Rashad Melvin. They could have got Darqueze Dennard for cheaper. That was a dumb sign to me. He is not good, bro. He gonna be another Nevin Lawson. And you asking Desmond Trufant to come here where they rushing 3 or 4 pass rushers and play man defense? He ain't gonna survive here unless Matt Patricia change some things up. He is not gonna survive here, bro. You talking about the Lions? You know the Falcons didn't have a pass rush. They had better pass rush than the Lions probably. Amani Rockley should be in there by like week 3 or 4. Desmond Trufant, he quit. He shut down too mentally too. Once you start getting in that ass, yeah, that motherfucker shut down. That's why I don't be going by pro football and all that stat shit. Look how many times motherfucking Matt Patricia called man with no motherfucking blitz behind it. Man. I'm telling you, he gonna get his Nevin Lawson on. He gonna get his Nevin Lawson on. Watch what I tell you. He gonna get his Nevin Lawson on. Atlanta was happy when he left. They probably sent him fruit, flowers, and candy when he left. He was happy when that dude left. Shit. For real. Any more questions? I'll answer them. Kansas City, Denver, 10-10. I don't even remember this damn game. I really don't watch Monday Night Football like that. This was like in 2016. It just don't. For me, I don't even really like to watch football on Sundays. I don't know why. Thursdays suck. Always suck. Do you know? Do you know how much money Everson Griffin want? No, I don't know. But I do know probably what's holding them up from signing them is the virtual offseason, not being able to physically contact players and have a physical on them. Atlanta said, "Fuck it, we're gonna take Todd Gurley and not know his health issues." But I think that's what's holding up free agency, not being able to talk to these guys, interview these guys, get a physical on these guys. I think that's why it's a log jam on free agency. It's just, you're not being able to contact them. But, Everson Griffin has some problems. He went through some, he had a mental issue a couple of seasons ago, so they definitely want to evaluate him. He said, this can be, Chris said, I can see, maybe he messed up. I can see where they go in Lions team, but if the base personnel don't click, we gonna hit a record on the throne though, the TV remote in Michigan. I don't even know why y'all still get mad. I mean, you can't get mad at the Lions. You know what it is. He said Nevin was so trash. He said Michigan runs, man, but they also blitz. Yeah, they blitz a lot. They bracket. They would bracket a little bit more. That was their adjustment this year. I forget the dude's name, the defensive coordinator, because I ain't talked Michigan in a long time. I probably got a Michigan video coming tomorrow. They'll bracket. They'll do some things, man, but Patricia ain't blitzing shit. Patricia going to sit in man, with a robber or a 2-man under, rush 3 or 4. Patricia ain't sitting in the cavalry for shit. It could be 4th and 1, and he going to still play rush 3 or 4 to stop the run. Lions still need one more pass rusher. I mean, yeah, I would prefer it to be on the interior. A lot of people putting in stock for Nick Williams from Chicago. I don't know. They need an interior. They need somebody that's going to dominate on an interior. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think the kid from Auburn was that guy. Kind of when I look deep into him, I think Kinlaw, he went to San Francisco too. They going to be nasty. Why the Packers didn't draft any playmakers at wide receiver for Rodgers, I didn't understand that. I forget who was all down there by the time they picked, because a lot of receivers had already went. But it is what it is. They could have took that trick player out of Memphis, and that would have been good for them. Arnold's not going to spend money this year unless they Super Bowl contenders. I said last year Bob blew his wad on big names early, and I think he going to wait this year for trade deadline. He didn't spend no big name players. They made motherfuckers into big name players, bro. Trey Flowers was not a big name player, bro. He was only a big player name in former New England people eyes. I think they said Miami was interested in Detroit. Coleman wasn't a big player, but they paid him like a big player. They was big players in Don Brown. Thank you. They was big name players in Bob Quinn eyes. Patricia plays a prevent. Basically, that's what he do. Prevent. Prevent. You ain't lying. Okay, I read that one. Y'all keep asking facts. Lions need one more pass rusher. Yeah, they wasn't gonna be on big fat slob. Daniels was only. It was no major commitment on Daniels. Daniels was a dude that they signed to get more depth rather than bring Ricky Jean-Francois back in. He spent under $10 million on Mike Daniels. Not saying that ain't a lot of fucking money, but it ain't like they blew the wide on him, early in the process. They just keep neglecting the defensive line position. I ain't never seen no shit like this. We used to neglect the defensive backfield with Martin Mayhew and Jim Schwartz and Caldwell. And now we neglecting the defensive line. They used to love defensive linemen. The Lions had a starting four for a starting four up front. Now we got a regime that love the DBs and hate the front seven. Crazy. He said he had a cheat. Yeah, they was okay. He said big name players. He said laugh out loud. Well, they was as far as contract. Trey Flowers' numbers didn't match up too bad with the other pass rushers last year. It was a down year. DeMarcus Lawrence didn't do well last year. He still got 7.5. He did better than Ziggy. Ziggy was injured out there in Seattle. So, I think if Trey Flowers come in healthy this year, Cora or Collins can give him some help. And I think with Hand give him some help in the inside, I think Flowers can get 10 this year. What about the defense tackle from him? He had a good year. Oh, Nick Williams. Yeah, I mean, look who you playing with, dude. You playing with like Khalil Mack, Leonard Floyd, Roquan Smith. One of them moved on. I can never remember. You playing with a good defense over there. Keem Spence was healthy some of the year. This ain't Chicago, my nigga. Chicago like playing with the Bulls. You know what I'm saying? Everybody feel confident. He coming down here playing with the motherfucking with the Atlanta Hawks. He said, I put up some old interviews from the past this weekend when Patricia was with them, and by listening to how they were talking, it sounded like the defense got a ton of read indicators for them. Oh, I think he meant red indicators from them. This team never gets big players, so they too cheap to do so. Or they can't draft them either. Hell no. They lost in 14 to the Cowboys. And what was 16 then? What was 16 then? What year was 16? Was that the Seahawk year? When they went up to Seattle and got and Anquan Bolden did that dumb shit? Yeah, Sean Rogers used to eat 7 chili dogs before each game. God damn, I seen him at Kroger's when I was at high school working. He was a big dude. He had the Cadillac truck that looked like I think it was a Cadillac truck that looked like the Avalanche, where it had the flatbed in the back, but you can transform it into the SUV. I think that's the truck he had. He was a big dude in person. You ain't running up on Sean Rogers. Y'all ain't gonna treat DeAndre Swift like y'all treated Eric Ebron, because ain't none of you niggas running up on his daddy. His daddy eat you for lunch. He said if they do get a big name guy, he on his last leg. That's the Pistons too, nigga. That's Detroit in the hole. For real talk, bring back Al Bubba Baker. He said Chris said could be why he blew up the linebackers the past 2 years because they stupid. Austin said I looked at the schedule and I see us winning about 7-8 games max. Jay Jefferson, yes, it was the Seahawks game. Yeah, they called a beat down by Seattle. Y'all remember that shit? Anquan Bolden did that dumbass shit. Yeah, I thought that was a chance they had an opportunity to win going into that game. But going up to Seattle, tough. Remember that Calvin Johnson had some memorable fuck me moments in this league. Remember in Seattle, they said he fumbled the ball, but it went out of bounds, and they reviewed it. Man, whew. They ain't gonna stop playing us till a referee get hurt. Straight up and down. This will be some funny shit this year. If the Lions went to the Super Bowl, wasn't no fans allowed. Crazy. Yeah, I remember that. See, I forgot that game. I forgot that what year that was. Yeah, I remember that game. That wasn't even competitive. Russell Wilson bad though. Any more questions? Crazy. He said, after New York and Chicago, is Detroit the next best cold weather city to live in? No. What other cities is there? I would never live in Boston. Racist as fuck. Nowhere in the Northeast would I ever live in. Me personally. Philly is really, really closed in. It's basically a fucking same as Detroit. Milwaukee is still segregated like it's the South and like it's the South back in the day. Minnesota is pretty cool. I've never been up there, I don't believe, but they got the Mall of America. Cleveland, basically Detroit. Kansas City. I don't. I've been through there, but I'm gonna have a hard person to ask. Me personally, it depends what you consider a cold weather city. I'd probably say, I don't know. I have to give me a list in front of me. When I travel, I ain't trying to go nowhere that's fucking cold. I see the cold all the time, so I ain't trying to go nowhere that's cold. Real talk. I ain't trying to go nowhere that's cold. I am not trying to go nowhere that's cold. He said, man, Stafford choked in that game. I don't even remember. I just remember it was an ass whooping. He said, this last year when Patricia was rushing 3 and had 8 in coverage and guys were still open. Yeah, because when you go against mobile quarterbacks or quarterbacks that can manipulate the pocket with their eyes, they going to get open guys. You can put, it's going to happen when you don't have no pass rush. People going to break open. I swear to God, we need what is that? Retaliate play for them refs when they try their thing crossing route. Oh, you talking about like in what the fuck was that? Longest Yard. Philly, a cool city. Lived there for a bit. You can walk or take the train. I enjoyed my time there. It wasn't expensive either. See, that's the difference. We would have had trains and shit like that, like New York, but the big three, they made that not happen. Detroit had subways like they was planning to have it back in the day. My bad. Brushed the field. They had subways that they was planning to do back in the day. Our insurance wouldn't be as high as it is. You wouldn't need no insurance reform. Everybody be taking the train. So, yeah, because you can get open and prevent defense with Patricia runs. So, yeah, that's kind of like the difference as well. Philly got a transportation system. Everything mushed in, though, in Philly, though. But, hey, the cheesesteaks, I heard bomb. I heard Max's chicken Philly steak is the shit. So I got to get out to Philly. Our punter situation is underrated issue. Yeah, they got rid of old Sam Martin. I remember Sam Martin lost us a game his rookie year. Also, don't forget the special teams. The new special teams coordinator coming from Cincinnati. Special teams was fucking up last year. Detroit, Michigan, 1990. Detroit, the special teams was terrible last year, bro. That's something people didn't talk about. I have Frank Ryan now, 97 card in Madden. He's good. Yeah, I got Madden on Xbox. I don't play it. I never really got into mute. Never been a mute guy. But yeah, Ragnar a beast. Any more questions? He said our last punter was a vet. Fucked us last year too. Might be good for a change. Yeah, I'm telling you, he lost us one game. Like in his rookie year, I forgot who he was playing, but he kicked like a 20-yard punt, 10-yard punt. So we'll see. We will see, but we'll see how the board now. I hope they will trust Matthew Stafford this year and allow him to call audibles, unlike Arizona game last year. Yeah, that was Darrell Bevel. He tried to throw Patricia under the bus. That shit was funny. He was like, the head coach is the only one who called a timeout, but he signaled to Patricia to call the timeout. That was crazy. Yeah, they would at least have 4 games won last year if they would have won that game. I still don't understand how they lost that game. Said Lions punters have always been trash. Do you think the coaching staff is done by Thanksgiving? No, I don't see them firing them. Martha try to be cutthroat, but I don't see them firing them. They go 1-7, maybe something like that. I don't see it though. A lot of people wanted their head on the plate last year. You know what I'm saying? He said, when you ready to, oh, yeah, we got to figure something out, bro. I got you. We just got to figure something out. Maybe for Piston Stream, I'll get you on. We can talk some draft. Just hit me up on Twitter. We can do something. I gotta put me a StreamYard together for this channel. Bro, do you know, any other questions? If not, I'm about to get to my food. But I'll wait a minute. He said he looked us up versus Dallas playoff game. He said middle of next year possibly. Have the Lions fired a coach recently in the middle of the season? I don't remember. I know they had Gary Moulder as a replacement coach in the middle of the season. He was a damn good coach too, Gary Moulder. I don't know why I think they replaced Gary Moulder with Steve Mariucci. Mariucci came here and did absolutely fucking nothing. Drafted Joy Harrington. Nothing. I can't believe it. I mean, and all motherfucking Matt Millen kept doing is drafting receivers. Remember he drafted Mike Williams. He missed a year at UFC, and then that motherfucker was a tight end by the time he got to Detroit. I don't know what made him draft Mike Williams. Gary Moore, the former Michigan coach. Yeah, he was the interim coach for the Lions for a minute. He was a damn good coach too. They should have kept him. They got rid of him. He said after some London game when Caldwell went on the fourth year, I thought. The fourth year. No, he didn't get fired in the middle of the year. Caldwell played his year out, then he got fired. I'm trying to think of some guys who got fired in the middle of the year. If we fire Bob Quinn after this year, should we get Martin Mayhew? Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Fuck what you go backwards for. They need to hire me. Shit, I do better than both of their ass. They had Mike Williams. They took Mike Williams, Roy Williams, and Charles Rogers. You know, not in that particular order. I think Rogers was first. They passed up on DeMarcus Ware and Andre Johnson for Charles Rogers. Rest in peace to him. Rest in power to him. Then they took Roy and they took Mike Williams in some type of order. I remember taking Ernie Sims, and Ernie Sims had a reputation for knocking himself out of games. He did that in Detroit. They just was terrible drafters. You know what I'm saying? Terrible drafters. Old Wayne Fonts. But yeah, man, let me get out of here. Appreciate y'all. I'm gonna do a Piston Stream really soon, man. So y'all be prepared for that. Might have some people come on with me. Appreciate the love, support. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. Don't forget you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Share the video is the best way to help me out. Twitter's the fast way to get in contact with me. And yeah, man, check my other channel out for more sports music.